Okay. Hello and welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you to all our speakers for being here. I'm your host and host, Sreepriya Sridharan, and it's an honor to be hosting this special episode. The reason why we are calling this special is some of our audience members know that Karo Sambhav has been organizing webinars. We have done 2 seasons, 16 episodes, and we've been discussing a lot about these unconventional waste streams around electronic waste, battery waste, plastics, what happens to them, right from collection to usage in the industry till the policy. But this time it's different. And let me share a little context behind why, not just the topic, but also the reason behind it. As you know, some of you know that India is going through its Lok Sabha elections, and every nook and corner, wherever you walk, there will be conversations around what's happening. There's this problem, there's another problem. Someone committed, they did not solve it. And while we were having such a healthy debate, even amongst our colleagues, we just realized that while it is important to elect the right candidate who, once getting elected, adheres to the commitment and serves the nation and its people, it is equally important for each one of us to identify the problem, address it, acknowledge it, and try to solve it in our own way. Only then can we probably amplify the change that we really want to see. And look, because when we talk about climate action and climate change, while it's a global problem, but a lot of solutions can be addressed locally, and the change begins there, right? And that's why so honored to be sharing this platform today with phenomenal individuals who have started their journey in their own way to solve those challenges. And that was the idea. We were like, let's open the floor for discussion and let's invite such change makers and see if we can probably grab some inspiration after talking to them. I remember in one of our last webinars, 2 student attendees were there. They were also the interns, and they had asked, what is the story behind the name Karo Sambhav? And yes, a lot of us are new to each other, especially with the speakers. So I recall a conversation that I had with Pranshu, who's the founder of Karo Sambhav. And while he was transitioning from his corporate role to come back to India and start this organization, there were a lot of advisors around who said, hey, if the kind of problem that you're trying to address, because at that time, a decade back, electronic waste, battery waste, even plastics, they did not have a formalized collection channel, nor did they have any formalized usage back into the industry where you talk about once things gets recycled, it gets used back to make similar kind of products. Those systems were not there in place. Leave alone the labor rights and all those aspects about the safeties when you look at dealing with waste. So when you're trying to address such a problem or probably trying to create a solution around this, a lot of advisors did tell him that, hey, the challenges on the grassroots, especially in the Indian context, it's difficult. So he just made fun and said, like, okay, let's name the company Karo Sambhav, which is a Hindi phrase which says make it possible. So the idea was like, no matter what challenges come along the way, at least it is a reminder that we stick to it and try to make circular economy possible. But that was like in short about how Karo Sambhav started its journey. And I'm so curious to hear each one of your journeys of how you came along with your solution. And hopefully, let's see how this conversation unfolds. Now, just one heads up to all our audience members, the format of this particular webinar is different because our speakers will be sharing one compelling image and share their story and share their journey through it so that we will know how they solve the challenges and they are still sticking to it, to solving it, no matter what the challenges are. On that note, I would like to invite Aparna Bhatnagar Saxena, CEO of TORAJAMELO, to share the keynote address. Over to you, Aparna.
Thanks, Sreepriya, and it's really nice to be here, and it's very, very, very nice to be with young people because honestly, they're the future, right? So younger than me now, because there was a time when I was the one. So now I'm really glad to have the next gen coming and taking helm, and especially Aditya and Lyonda, or Lyon, who I know very, very well. So good to see them both. I'm just gonna share my screen. hang on. I'm not super comfy with Teams. So let me just figure. Yeah, there it is. Hang on. Yes. Okay, just one slide. All right. Let's see. Can you all see this?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
great. Yeah. All right. So, well, I hope I do justice. I'm going to try and stick within the, time limit. And essentially, I'm here sitting in front of you to share with you that I think if we decide to take on something and we want to look at a problem, the best way to go about it is to do it, right? How much of we analyze, etc. Finally, the moment of truth is when you get down to doing things. And overthinking doesn't always help. And especially, I think we are now sitting in dire times, with so many changes happening, especially around us, related to climate, related to environment. And it's literally becoming incumbent on us, to take charge, because there's no point waiting for government or your leaders or whoever to go and do things, right? Because if you do care and if you are really not happy with status quo, then you've got to, take the bull by horns and do something about it, right? And take the steps. And I'm just gonna try and make it personal by sharing as to how I landed up here. So I'm essentially dialing in from Jakarta. I'm very much Indian. I'm from Mumbai, India, and I've been in Indonesia now for 6.5 years. Yes. And I have been leading TORAJAMELO. So here you see nothing mentioned about TORAJAMELO. So I lead this organization called TORAJAMELO. Later, I'm happy to share the website. Right? And we work with indigenous weaving communities across Indonesia. Indonesia has a very rich indigenous culture. In fact, almost as rich or more rich than India. They have more than 1,100 indigenous tribes, and each of them have their culture and then have their weaving and arts and crafts. So TORAJAMELO was founded in Toraja. It's in the highlands of the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia, which is, by the way, world's largest archipelago. And it means beautiful Toraja. So Melo means beautiful in the Bahasa Toraja. And this was started 2008 in 2008 by the founder Dini Yusuf. I'm not the founder. I took over as the CEO to essentially look at the problem of emigration of indigenous communities due to lack of employment within the communities. So it was founded with that ethos 16 years ago. We have since evolved, and now we are strongly focused on culture, environment, and social sustainability of indigenous communities, of rural areas, because we see that there's drastic changes that are happening due to urbanization, due to immigration. And the way we work is we essentially help the weavers stay within their homes. So what you see in this photo is me with young weavers in an island of Adonara, which is in East Nusa Tenggara. If you look in Indonesia's map, you will see. And essentially to have these women stay in their homes, earn income through their craft, which is backstrap loom weaving, become custodians of their, environment, take care of their communities, their families, and hence, survive and thrive where they are without having to move to cities to earn an income. So that's how we have now, evolved. And we are extremely, extremely passionate about making sure that people are able to survive and thrive where they are, and they're not forced out. Because the moment communities break down, it actually does not just affect them, economic empowerment, but it actually affects the biodiversity and the well-being of the entire community, because these people actually take care. They're the custodians of environment. And this is something you will even see in India, right? That's why the tribes, right, the tribal people, etc., are supposed to be supported and encouraged to earn livelihood from where they are, right, through their arts, crafts, rather than come to urban areas. So that's the story of TORAJAMELO. How did I land up here? Well, my background is logistics. So essentially, ideally, you would wonder, like, what is this woman doing here in Indonesia? You know, I'm not even Indonesian. And I would just essentially answer by saying, if you see the line number 3 is what drives me, is the simple question. I got an opportunity to lead this organization, brought together my values, where I am passionate about women empowerment. I love traveling. I love the environment. I'm a tree hugger. I'm a very active, vocal, amateur environmentalist. I care about animals, people, and I love learning. And that essentially, brought me here to Indonesia after having lived and worked in 4 countries before. So I never thought I'd land up here. I think I just followed my work. And what was my motto for work is, as long as I got an opportunity to make a difference, right? So wherever, whatever roles I've taken, if I got the chance that this is somewhere where I can add on, right? I can do something about it. I can try and make things better, right? To take on those things. So challenges drive me. I get very bored if, everything is run of the mill and, settle. That's not what has, what sort of motivates me. So essentially going to places, looking at problems, looking at things that drive me, has, finally gotten me here leading this organization. And I'm often asked, right, like, why are you as an Indian running this organization? Well, I didn't choose this. It just gave me an opportunity to look at this problem, and it brought together, my core interests of women, environment, and education. And I then come back to these 2 lines, which are by Hillel the Elder, which is, if not now, then when? What are we waiting for? And if not me, then who? Right? Who are you waiting for? So essentially, this is where, I landed up. And this experience has essentially told me that you don't need to wait for anyone or anything to, go and take some steps and do something about a problem. You've got to start taking ownership for it from wherever you are. And I was lucky that since a very young age, I was brought up by feminist parents. So there was never a discrimination I faced, right, because of my gender. And that essentially drove me to always pursue what I believed was the right thing to do, right, as long as it didn't damage anyone. And I was exposed to a lot of nature that drove the love for nature. And that essentially then told me that if I spotted something and it was not right, then I would do something about it rather than just, wait for others to do it, which included, by the way, stopping a car in middle of the road if somebody in the car threw garbage outside, including my own friends who were sitting in the car with me, and I would make them stop the car, go down, go back, pick it up and bring it back, which of course embarrassed them a lot, but also taught them a lesson. Yeah. So essentially starting with these kind of small actions to then going and creating a community, reaching out to people and going after something that you're passionate about, right? So I think my input to you all would be, all the young people here on, in this webinar, is you don't have to wait for an opportunity. You don't have to wait for somebody to come and give you that responsibility. If you care, if there's something that bothers you, that drives you, you've got to pick it up and do something about it. And you will realize when you are really wanting to do something, you will find your tribe. You will find people who will be willing to come and work with you and take this forward, right? And honestly, we are at a situation where literally the world is in hand of the young, and because me and my previous generations have actually made a mess of it. So we really need you all also to take charge, right? And you don't have to wait for a Greta Thunberg, right? We can have our own activists at our level to really take charge and do things that matter, starting at our own level, right, with small actions. And some of you are going to speak after me are actually going to be sharing about what they all have done, right? And I think that will in fact tell you that age doesn't matter, where you're from doesn't matter, right? It's just the drive and your willingness. Okay. And finally, I end by saying, what keeps me grounded and keeps me going is saying by Mahatma Gandhi that we have to be the change we want to see. Right? So we have to start with ourselves, and then we can make things fall into place. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Aparna. I think you summed it up really well on what drives probably and what we all can do, right? It's just the small steps we all can take. Now, I would like to proceed further to our other change makers, and before that, just one rule for all our audience members. The chat is open, so if our speakers are asking you a question, feel free to participate and type in the chat. So just participate, and then in the end, when we have the Q&A, the floor is open for discussion. So on that note, I'd like to invite Anuja Dasgupta. She's a visual artist, an educator, and the co-founder of Ladakh Orchids. And it was an honor to meet you, Anuja, just a few weeks back. So over to you.
Thank you, Sreepriya, and thank you so much, Aparna, for that wonderful start. So just to add to what Sreepriya said, I am actually an accidental artist, but a very intentional educator and social entrepreneur. I'm based in Ladakh, which is the western gateway of the Indian Himalayas. What I'm most invested in is the region's ecology, which drives both my art practice and my learning, design, and education. Now, as an artist working with photography, this mandate to project one image put a lot of pressure on me. But indulge me for a moment to quickly guess what this image could be. Oh, you projecting it. Thank you, Sreepriya. So you can either think to yourself or type in your responses. I'm okay with either. Any guesses what this is to my fellow speakers as well? Yes, Karma. This is an apricot sapling. So Skarma is actually a colleague from Ladakh. I'm glad you could join, Skarma. So this is actually an apricot sapling in the middle of nowhere on a sandy stretch, a stretch which is very frequently run on by many SUVs and 4x4s. So this is from a few years ago on one of my detours on a long ride deep into the western valleys of Ladakh. This sapling most likely grew because of a lone apricot kernel thrown away on this patch. So I first visited Ladakh in 2011, and what drew me there was this barren land. And that is what magnetizes most people to Ladakh, right? The unique moonscape with high altitude saltwater lakes and so on and so forth. But there is more to Ladakh. You see, the home of this apricot sapling that you see is an exceptionally fertile stretch of the otherwise barren Ladakh region. This is the Sham Valley, the lesser known agricultural pocket of Ladakh. It's fascinating how the most attractive tourist destination in the Sham Valley is the moonland of this village called Lama Yuru, which is a barren lunar landscape. But if you get in just deep enough, you'll see lush green lands with vibrant, rich orchards and farmlands, apricot orchards mostly. Now, apricots are surprisingly resilient trees that can handle cold winters. And the Sham Valley, the western side of Ladakh, which is fairly high in altitude, which is roughly 9 to 12,000 feet above sea level, experiences slightly warmer summers compared to other parts of Ladakh. And its sandy soil with good drainage is highly suitable for apricot nurturing. And while the conditions are fortunate, like all us living beings, these apricot trees also need. And that's the other lesser known trait of Ladakh, which is its unique community rooted traditional agricultural system, which has been working since centuries, despite what we know as the harsh climate and the very real problem of water scarcity in Ladakh. But these farmers who have had this wealth of orchards in the past now face the consequences of our damaged food economy and our seriously damaging tourism economy, where what happens is that every non-native food item flows into local markets for half the price of local produce, and vast agricultural lands that are stripped of their fertility to build up hotels and resorts with Western toilets, depleting Ladakh's limited underground water at an alarming rate. Additionally, with depleting glaciers, increased pollution, changing livelihoods, the very few farmers, or as I say, farmer grandparents, don't really have much left to work with. So Sambhav, my friend from the Sham Valley, and I decided to launch Ladakh Orchards. So Sambhav has witnessed firsthand the struggle of his Ladakhi farmer parents to make ends meet with agriculture during the transition of Ladakh's subsistence economy to utter dependence after the roads opened up for tourists from all across the world some 40, 50 years ago. Now, Sanba is from this village, which is host to this stunning confluence of the two rivers Indus and Zangskar, which falls at the mouth of the Sham Valley, nourishing the valley as a one-of-a-kind, high-altitude agricultural belt. So Sanba had actually piloted Ladakh orchards in 2017, and the sun-dried apricots were an obvious hit, but there were many challenges to be overcome. And since 2018, I have been working with the native flora of Ladakh, studying the remarkable ethnobotany of the region with local farmers, scientists, and village communities. So when Stanba and my worlds met, the two of us took the time to understand traditional roots, learn from our elders, and finally launch Ladakh Orchards in full swing in 2023. So our simple yet grand aim is to promote traditional agricultural products and practices of Ladakh. At Ladakh Orchards, we've been working with a growing community of small farmer families across a stretch of 200 kilometers in western Ladakh. Our products are all traditionally grown and sun-dried, and they're up on our e-commerce website, aggregators, and on the racks of several general and departmental stores. We were also the first venture to deliver freshly harvested apricots from Ladakh to the Indian National Capital Region just last summer. And while all of this is happening, our products are reaching thousands and thousands of customers across the globe. At the same time, we also have a service line where we are curating tailored agricultural experiences in Ladakh for travelers, students, and Himalayan enthusiasts of all kinds. And this is being done with our community of farmer families. So while we wanted to steer clear of this much celebrated but what we feel as a myopic vision of a social product dominant venture, which generates very quick revenue, we were also personally very upset with the namesake farm stay trend in the Himalayas, where you essentially live in front of a grassy patch of land and don't get to see or understand anything about the farm. So Stanma and I took the time to study the agricultural flock of Ladakh, which is a very short 6-month affair, packed with meaningful traditional agricultural practices, which are now rapidly fading away. So at Ladakh Orchards Experiences, our guests live on orchards and farmlands, immerse themselves into these traditions with our farmers, not just eat, but understand local food, and also partake in agricultural activities. We organize short day tours, which is aptly called a day of wonder, and shorter stays and long tours as well. And each of these are carefully curated with our farmer families to inculcate this collective pride in the farmer agricultural glory of Ladakh. So I hope you all know Ladakh slightly better than what the larger public perceives. And as a call to action, what you all can do is join our community in whichever way you can. But in your own personal lives, I would like to share the message, something that I learned from my own mentor, which is not just to be the best in the world, but to be the best for your world. So thank you for listening to me.
Wow, thank you so much, Anuja. I really like that message, and thanks to your mentor for communicating that. So, next, I would like to invite Lyonda Huwaidi, who's a founder and CEO of WaterHub. So, Lyonda, The stage is over to you.
Thank you so much, Sreepriya. I would like to also ask for your help to share the screen for the picture.
Sounds good. Yes, yes,
Thank you so
I will.
much.
Just 1 second. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leon. I'm the CEO and founder of WaterHub. I want to take you on a journey through a powerful story, um, starting with this picture and leading to a transformative mission. In this image on the left, you see Jakarta, a city characterized in exponential growth and high consumption, but beneath the surface lies a harsh reality, a devastating impact of unchecked growth on our planet. And Indonesia having a poor management to water exacerbates this issue. Indonesia is now having one of the worst water management in the world and relies heavily on single-use plastic bottle to drink. So this leads to a lot of plastic waste. And as you can see in this image here, a lot of officers needs to collect the plastic waste from the rivers in the heart of Jakarta. Once it's been collected daily, new plastic waste will then be merged to the rivers, and the cycle goes on like that. In my beginning days, I was actually pursuing aerospace engineering, but being a youth born and raised in Jakarta makes me frustrated to the current situation of what Indonesia is facing right now. And I believe solution needs to come from businesses, and that is why we started WaterHub. So WaterHub can process and um, transform water, any source of water, seawater, groundwater, rainwater into drinking water directly on site, eliminating the process of plastic, packaging, logistics, and all those long supply chain, making our approach very sustainable and also efficient, which is also beneficial to the business growth. Now, with 10 WaterHub machines that we have installed, we can reduce 1 million plastic bottles in just a month and also 6,000 tons of carbon dioxide emission in a month. So yeah, we are working together with the local governments, and through this initiative, we hope to also grow exponentially and change the current situation that we have currently in Indonesia, because we also realize that this problem is not only affecting Indonesia, but as water is connected, throughout all the world, I think it will also impact the rest of the countries. So we want to start making change and kind of like change and fix the source of the problem, which is, I think, is currently being sourced in Indonesia. So yeah, I would like to also invite all the youth and audience here to collaborate, and together I think we can start a transformative impact and change towards a positive future. So yeah, Aparna has been a very, very helpful mentor. So I am also very thankful and appreciative towards what she's been doing and towards her guidance throughout all these years. This is also the reason why WaterHub can be as how we are today. So thank you so much, Aparna. Yeah, and that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. And you're right. I think we all have this assumption that water is abundant, especially fresh water. And slowly in every region, the effect is already seen of how it's decreasing. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you have invented this technology, and I hope it scales up pretty soon. A lot of regions are going to need it. And I already see some dots connecting in different regions across the speakers that we are speaking today. So hopefully we get to collaborate soon. So thank you once again. And next, I'd like to invite our youngest change maker, Aditya Bajpai. He's a student, and I really like how in his project he actually created the startup Share and Use. So a new organization. So Aditya, over to you, and I can also share the screen. Just 1 second. Yes.
So it's an honor to be a part of this incredible event today. Thank you, Karo Sambhav, for your work, truly inspiring work, I should say. I'm thrilled to share a glimpse of my journey. Sam Aditya. I'm from Singapore. I'm a founder of Share News, a platform born out of a concern for our planet by putting in action the little knowledge and skills I've acquired so far. Share News is a platform that enables connection between donors and seekers of pre-loved goods among school students. So we strive to support environmental protection and circular economy by enabling efforts of school students to reuse and recycle certain categories of goods such as books, clothes, shoes, electronic goods conveniently and efficiently. I have been driven by a simple belief that each one of us has the responsibility and the power to make a difference. So the image that you see here um, paints a picture of a problem that we face, as well as the solution, a beacon of hope amidst the challenges that we confront. Especially growing as a student, we outgrow our nice clothes and shoes quite fast, while these aren't very good condition. Our bookshelf also outrun their capacity. These are the real pictures during my journey. Think about all the books, clothes, shoes, and bags that sit unused in our homes, destined for the landfill. Through shareanduse.org, these items find a new life, passing from one person to another in a local community, without any need for storage or transportation over long distances. It facilitates the reuse of pre-loved goods, so reducing pressure on finite natural resources and waste. So, how does it work? It's an easy it's easy as scanning a QR code, as you can see on the screen, whether you're a donor looking to give back or a seeker in search of something. And with built-in safety features and FAQs, you can be rest assured that your experience will be both secure and seamless. It's free and there is data stored for database marketing, etc. It's like Amazon, OLX, or Carousel without any commercial or marketing or warehousing transportation of goods. Does does it sound a great solution? I'll say not as good unless people use it, because climate change is not just a problem that we can solve in isolation or through actions on a few days of the year, so maybe Earth Day, the World Environment Day, or only when we grow into adults. It requires collaborative, systematic solutions that engage communities and organizations and individuals right from an early age. As the phrase goes, catch them young. So that's where Share News comes in. It's more than just a platform, it's a movement. We are empowering young people to cultivate a culture of sharing and sustainability, not just on special occasions, but every day of the year. But Share News is not just about 1,000 of successful transactions. It's about transformation. It's about fostering a sense of stewardship for our planet and its resources, one shared item at a time. I invite each of you to join us on this journey. Scan the QR code, use our website, and become a part of the solution. Together, we can build a better and a more sustainable world for ourselves and for the future generations. Thank you for your time, your support, and your commitment to positive change. Let's make every day Earth Day. Thank you.
Thanks, Aditya. And I think I would say catch them all because why not just young? Everyone can participate. And thank you. Yes, a day is every day. So, on that note, I'd like to invite Preeti Chauhan, founder of Little Green World and Navikru Eco Foundation. So, Preeti is also a friend of a friend, and I'm so glad I got to know you, Preeti. So, over to you. I'll also share the
Thank
screen.
you.
One second.
Yeah, please share the screen. So it's good to
Yes.
see like Ladakh has been common connection point, a lot of us. And there is a
Yes.
journey, and how different people come together on different journeys and they meet. So my name is Preeti Chauhan. Uh, I am from Mumbai, but now I'm based in Ladakh. Like Aparna was saying that there is no reason why someone is at some location. So my organization, Little Green World and Navikru Eco Foundation, we work in environment education, and we work with a vision to enable each individual to become a conservationist and zero waste practitioner. So my journey started in the mountains. It was like it was more on the terms of like I never thought that I'll be having my own NGO or organizations. Rather, I was not even a concerned person, I would say. I was very happy with my life in Mumbai and in corporates, and was very happy with the fact, whatever money or lifestyle I had. But in 2017, I did my first Himalayan trek, and the being in the mountains just gave a feeling, particularly being on the trek, that one person can do a lot if a person gets out of its comfort zone. And that's how it started, and one after the other things started falling into place. And how Ladakh happened, that was because of a fellowship, and Anuja was a part of it, and that's how we know each other. And Little Green World was born in that 2019 and 2020, and I feel great that I have still continued, and I'm still here in Ladakh. And so this is a picture of Kaksar village. Kaksar village is in Kargil, and it is at Indo-Pakistan border. So of all the places that we work, one of our main work that is of sustainability education, environment education, and we do a lot of activity-based learning. And during this program, this school also participated with us. And while doing the different waste-related activities, the students came up with the findings. The women of the villages from where they fetch the water is the place which is most littered. And this village was like, it faced the 1999 Kargil war. So there were shells that fell on this village, and it was one of the affected village. Till last year, there was no mobile network in this village. So it was very limited. Even at the entrance of the village, there was a army checkpost that one has to cross, and not everyone is allowed in that village. So in terms of resources and in terms of information and a lot of other things, it was limited, and I would say it didn't have the opportunities or the things that other places would have. And waste, I would say, even though there are limited resources, but waste is something that finds its way in all the places. And this village was also not spared with that. And when our students identified and they put these questions in front of us, that ma'am, there is this particular health issue that is rising in our village. Do you think it will be because of the waste that is lying near the area where the women are fetching the water? And this gave us an opportunity, like, let's work on finding the solution. And we implemented this project called Zero Waste Project, Zero Waste School and Community Project. So what we did, we installed dustbins, but we didn't just call them dustbins, we called them resource bank. So our idea is to change the narrative of waste and not look at it as a waste, but look at it as a resource. And like, we installed these different banks in schools as well as in the community, and named them as plastic bottle bank, plastic wrapper bank, paper bank, metal, glass, and different. Our students who are maintaining the school resource banks, they are also going and educating the community, their own community, and they are teaching them how to separate and put the waste. So with this project, what we achieved is promoting source segregation. Second was changing the narrative of waste. Third, like, what to do after once the waste is collected. So Ladakh is a place where resources are valued, like, because we have scarce resources, so everything is valued a lot. So paper and cardboard, they are burnt during the winters or used in the local heating system, or it can be sold depending on how much of the quantity is. Then bottles, metals, these are the items in summers. There are kabaddi walas that they come. So this is sold to them. So one question lies is like, what happens to the wrappers? And wrappers is one multi-layered plastic items which is creating a big problem. So again, raising those questions, like how can we really work on this? So our idea to work on this zero waste school and community project is, we are not saying that we have achieved being zero waste, but the idea is at least we've taken a step, and also connecting this waste with the health issue and understanding whatever the multi-layered package is available or is generated in the village, how is it actually affecting the health of the people, and then finding different ways to like how can we reduce that. So that's how we have thought of planned this whole project. And fortunately now we have projects like we have governmental initiatives where they come and pick up the waste once a month. So they are not giving away all the waste, they are reusing and repurposing all the waste that they can, and only waste which they cannot treat or manage or use, they are giving that to the vehicle that comes by the government. And again, a village which is limited with a lot of resource, but having that ideology and understanding the fact that waste has not spared any of the places, and it's there everywhere. And overall, if I say what we try to work on is, I truly believe in that we do not need to reinvent the wheel. We need to find if there are solutions available in the already available in the market or in India or anywhere. So we just need to replicate. We, I think, as humans, we fail at execution at larger level. There are solutions. We do not need to be innovative all the time. We just need to find solutions, and that can be, and maybe customize it to the local place and then implement it. So if I talk about the other projects that we have done, we have built passive solar classrooms in 2 of our schools. And again, the passive solar design is not by us, it's not something we innovated. It is done by Mr. Sunam Vamshak, and we have just replicated. And 2 of our villages were, one in Zanskar, one in Kargil. Now in the peak winters, without using any heating system, they are able to keep the rooms warm. So technologies and solutions, finding the right, making it contextual is the most important. In one of our schools, we have built greenhouse. Again, Ladakh, like Anuja mentioned, there is only a 6-month vegetation season. So and most of the time the vegetables are coming from Srinagar. So building a greenhouse in a school helped us in teaching organic farming to our students, and making them understand what is the ecosystem outside the greenhouse and what is the ecosystem inside the greenhouse, and also whatever vegetables are growing, that is supplying as a part of their midday meal supply. So this is what we have been doing, and as I said, we are trying to work on environment education, at the same time find the gaps and then find solutions for it. So yeah, this is what we have been doing. Thank you. Sreepriya, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I was just trying to stop sharing the screen. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you so much, Preeti. I really liked how you shared the context, because many a times, like I think both of you rightly mentioned, when we look at such touristy destinations, it's all the Instagrammy posts that we see. But when we actually go there, the reality of it is very different if we have our eyes open. Many a times nowadays everybody is just busy making reels, so they don't really look around and see, hey, okay, this is a ground challenge that this particular area is facing. So I'm so glad that all of you shared such unique perspectives. Now I actually want to open the floor for discussion, and if any of our speakers would like to ask each other questions, and even the audience members, please feel free to post your questions If you don't have any questions, I do have, but I'll wait till the end. So if any of the speakers do want to ask each other questions, feel free to. The floor is open. I actually have one question for, I mean, any one of you can answer that. One thing that comes with is, especially we being young people introducing solutions to a place which has had generations, right? This is how the world works. This is how the way it has been working. How did you tackle that resistance? And I'm sure there must have been the initial first few who accepted the change that you were bringing in. So I'm very curious to know how that transition happened. And I would actually love to hear that from all of you. So maybe Anuja, if you want to start.
Thank you for putting me on the spot, Sreepriya. No, but that's a very valid question. In fact, that is something we actively think of at Ladakh Orchards. And that is something that comes up in my classes as well and my methodologies for my arts practice as well. So I guess, and this comes, what I'm going to say will come very much from the vantage point of Ladakh, but it definitely can be adopted elsewhere. So, what I truly strongly feel is that we are wired to think in blacks and whites. We always think of either or. And that's how we are conditioned, that's how we are taught everything under the sun. But during this process, we forget that there can be a middle way. For Ladakh specifically, um, if you take agriculture, you can't just tell a farmer who has increasingly optimized their farming with a tractor to just go back to traditional farming because that just does not make sense. So, can I, as a new venture in this sector, can I then try to find that whatever the tractor is harming can then be restabilized by another activity, number one? Or can there be another alternative to the tractor? So this is a very specific example, but what I have personally learned, and I would recommend a book for this. It's called Ancient Futures by this Swedish linguist by the name of Helena Norberg Hodge, who had first come to Ladakh when Ladakh was first opened to tourists. So the name really answers your question, Sripriya. You don't really need to go back to the traditional agricultural system or what has been working for ages. Uh, and you don't need to blindly get into the future, the modern, the sophisticated either. There can be a middle way. I don't think it can be scripted for all kinds of activities and industries, but I guess, especially for us young change makers, uh, we can pave that way. But the prerequisite for it is to understand the past first. So that is my answer.
Thank you. Lyonda, would you like to go next? And because Indonesia's context also is something that we would also love to understand how different it is.
Yeah, for sure. I think it also aligns to the question that I saw from the comment section. So probably I would like to also answer that as well, because I think it's connected. I think when it comes to the younger generations, a lot of them are much more critical and aware towards how they want to shape the future. So they tend to kind of like be more open towards sustainability and, sustainable approaches rather than the older generation. And as of Indonesians, I think a lot of them are much more price sensitive rather than caring about how their behavior impacts the climate and their environment. So what we've done with WaterHub in Indonesia is that we kind of like shift our communication depending on who we're talking to. When it comes to the older generation, we tend to explain that whenever they refill their water from their refill station, they can save more money, which is much more beneficial and important to them. So the journey is quite different on how we communicate to the younger generation. But at the end of the day, the goal of reducing plastic waste still meets. So I guess that's, you know, it also works. At the end of the day, what matters if it works or not, right? So that is like I guess, the shift and the strategy that we did with WaterHub. And I think it really it really matters on us understanding um, what's important for them, and then communicating what's important for them, and connecting it to our product. So it's quite tricky when it comes to sustainable products, but with WaterHub, since we can help them save money, that's one key that we use is to shift their behavior from using the one-time use plastic bottles to reusing their tumblers, and yeah, reducing plastic at the end.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, do we have one more question from Aditya? Okay, we have a question for Aditya. How you ensure that things anyone posts on sharing news is not socially unacceptable? Aditya, are you there? Um,
Oh yeah, I'm here.
yes. Yeah.
So
Would you? Yeah.
right. Share news, we have a system where we can actually control the post. So when anyone puts in a request, then we will need to approve it before we can actually publish on the website. So I think in that way we ensure the safety of all the people who are using our platform, and I think that's how we ensure that nothing socially unacceptable goes on.
Okay. Thank you for that. We have one more question for Preeti. You mentioned that the landscape you're working on has accessibility issues. How did you manage to get access and build the setup when you first started off?
So one good thing about Ladakh is the government is very approachable. If I compare with any of the other states of India or UTs of India, uh, I can actually just walk down to the DC district councillor office and just sit there, wait there, and I might get an appointment with him. So when we started working or finding schools for our teacher training program or for our sustainability education program, we re-approached the government, and after getting like the circular and collaboration, we did the collaboration with the government, and then we put out the circular for the teachers that you please come for the training. Now the teachers have come for the training, and then they start executing and implementing our program in their schools. And for seeing the work and the update, we have to visit it, and that's how it is accessible. So in fact, last year we had students from University of Washington visiting us, and to actually take them to the village, we took them to this Kaksar village. We had to go through the whole process of taking permission. Not everyone could go to this village, but with the right permission and everything, we were able to take them. So yeah, the government is approachable. That's the reason we were able to do it. Yeah.
So glad to hear that the government is approachable, and I hope they stay that way till so that the area is protected. And now I think, but thank you so much to all of you. I really want each one of you to share your closing remarks, and then I'd invite my colleague to share the thank you note. Any one of you can begin. Maybe this time we start with Aditya.
I think I would say there's nothing, I think I had heard this somewhere, there's nothing basics about basics. I think my inspiration to making this platform started with a really simple thing that when I was growing up, I had some books which I didn't need. So I just wanted to give them, but then I would give it would end up in the landfill. So even that kind of a simple trigger and inspiration kind of pushed me to making this website. So I think it's all about, as Aparna also mentioned previously, like just doing it, because I think we can, there is an urgent need for all of us to act together and really make a difference, because what's been done has been done, but now I think the next thing is to build on our existing foundations and keep improving our environment and ensuring a circular economy. So I think that's my broad thinking and something that I can offer.
Thank you. Lyonda, your closing remarks.
Yeah, I think the future of business would be collaboration, because I don't think the mindset is to produce a lot of products and take in a lot of profits as much as possible, because I think the idea is to actually fix the problem that we have currently now. So what I believe in the future is that we could actually collaborate and do more sustainable approaches towards the businesses. And I think that's what's happening, especially in Indonesia. And I'm glad that's the current situation. And I think more and more businesses are much more aware. And yeah, I think that's shaping our future towards a positive change.
Absolutely. Thank you. Preeti? And then, of
So
course,
one,
Anuja. Yeah, please.
so one of the quote that I work with is, where there is a will, there is a way. And we don't need to do big things. We just need to do small things, something that allows us to do things in our own capacity. And once that spark ignites, then eventually the path will be built. So, and fortunately now there are so many organizations, so many initiatives, they are working in this field. So even if you can, and there are a lot of, say, internship volunteering opportunities for, even if you can contribute an hour in a week's time in your own like schedule. So just get to know more about the solutions that are already there, and how on a personal level one can reduce their footprint, overall footprint, I would say. And yeah, there are ample of opportunities available. We just need to look up and take that small step. Thanks.
Thumbs up to all those. Anuja.
Yeah, just wanted to add, Sreepriya is herself a champion of volunteering. So you can have a whole webinar on that by her. But yeah, my closing remarks, I would say, is a summary of something that each one of us shared here, which is that we don't need to, vigorously look for innovative solutions. We need to learn from what the past was. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, like Aditya said. So, and I noticed that in all of our examples, we are looking at what used to be to learn what can be. When it comes to refilling bottles or segregating waste or finding a new life to waste, traditional systems of cultural, agricultural. So all of that used to happen. And while we still can, we must learn from our elders who have valued these practices, and then find that middle way to really recalibrate our solution in a way where we can cater to the modern demands and needs. So that would be my final remark. And it's been wonderful knowing all these initiatives. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Thank you. I think you actually summarized it quite well. And the brain behind putting this together is my colleague Amrita. So Amrita, I'd like to invite you to give the thank you note. And yeah, thanks you to all of you. Thank you for making time. Amrita, over to you.
Thank you, Sreepriya. Am I visible and audible? Yeah. So hi, hello everyone. Good evening. And it has been such a wonderful session with all the young change makers. It was so inspiring. I am also left awestruck, that we are sitting at the desk and working our, contributing our bit to the environment, but would really, really want to do something like this at the grassroots. And it has been so inspiring, starting with Aparna and then with Anuja and then with Lyonda and obviously Aditya and Preeti. So all of you are trying to be the best change maker at your own landscape and doing the best. Only one thing to say at the end, I would like to quote Rudyard Kipling. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. You guys are actually making it possible, and hats off to all of you for all the initiative and all the hard work that is happening on the ground. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and keep driving the change.
Yes.